So today is Saturday, September 11th, and it wasn't really planned this way, but I guess in memory of the tragedy 20 years ago, I will reveal the big project that I've been working on. I've been kind of keeping it under wraps, and it's installed and ready to show now. So, and it's not the paint job, although I do really like the the paint scheme on this one. I think this guy chose really nice colors, and yeah, we spent the last couple days getting it painted up, and man, it's way nicer than my paint. I'm a little jealous. I'm jealous of everything because of this. So we waited a little bit too long to order the panel from Midwest, and their lead time was going to be what seemed like a little bit too long. So I said, okay, let's do something special. And I guess we did that. However, because I went a little overboard with everything, I think Midwest would have had their panel to us and it would be all installed way before I was done with this. But, you know, I think everybody's happy with it in the end. So before I get to the panel stuff, I talked about the heater a while ago. And the way I was going to run it was I'm not running the heat through this anymore. This is only fresh air here and fresh air there. And those are with the splitters here, and I'll show those in a little bit, but we're going to get through the heater first. So the heater has 4 outputs on it. I've actually capped off one and put one to the defrost still, same way as the standard Sling. One goes here and has a T, and I'll show that from the other side. And when the side panel bolts on, it fits into that T really nice and tight with a little bit of gap seal. And so then there's, you know, an eyeball vent there for directional and on-off control. Same thing back here, another eyeball vent with a shut-off. Of course, they shut off, and you can control the direction of it. An 1.5-inch tube goes down the center and comes out. I'll show that on the other side. And a 2-inch tube goes down this way. So so here it is here, and so like I said, 2-inch tube, T's off, and those 2 side panels fit on. I've left one off just so I could show the other side here and the inner workings of it. And then the 1.5 inch comes down here and out through the lightning hole. So for anybody who may have missed the other videos about this particular issue, the standard Sling vents use the side rail as heater duct as well as fresh air. However, the heat really does not make it back there. The fan's just not strong enough to get it down there. And you know, even if it does, then you're dealing with cold aluminum touching that heat, and honestly, very little heat, air even gets through, and then whatever's getting through is cold. So at least on my plane, I'm not sure how other people have done it. So this though, this is something else, because when we turn the fan on low, of course air is going to come out of this one, right? And that's just on low. And then back here, even on low, you can see, not sure if I've got a good angle here or not. Let's see if from up here. You can see how much air is getting blown off this string here. And that's just on low. So certainly, well, hopefully, whatever air does make it back here will still be warm, because there's nothing cold directly in contact with it, like the side panels, side channels on the side skins. And the volume of air getting through here is really good. And so, of course, once again, of course, this is going to be blowing wildly. It's really close, and it's a full 2-inch duct. And I think I forgot to say, this 1.5 inch actually tees off down here to 2 1-inch ducts. So, but look at that. The air's really cranking out of there. And so I'm pretty confident, and this is with all the vents open. So, you know, if you were to only have one backseat passenger or whatever, shut off this valve and just blow it through there, then it's going to be even more. And kind of same thing with the front two passengers. If you don't need quite that much heat and the back is cold, then you know, go to half throttle or whatever on the eyeball vent. So I'm pretty happy with the way this works, and you know, of course we're going to have to do some more testing, you know, once the plane is up, and winter's coming soon, so I think we'll get to test it out and see how it works pretty soon. So a couple of things about the panel here. Everything is separate components that I machined here at my shop and powder coated them individually. Each component is both mechanically bound, either by rivets or bolts, and there's adhesive on it. So all of the rivets and bolts that are holding each piece on are hidden. And so it took a little bit of time to kind of design it that way, but it kind of looks like it's all just one piece. And yeah, so it's both mechanically and chemically bonded by the adhesive. And so none of this is going anywhere, even if you were to pull out all of the mechanical bonds. So yeah, all the rivets are hidden in different areas. All the bolts are hidden in different areas. Kind of each piece is differently assembled. So I can't reveal that secret, unfortunately, but I'm pretty happy with it. Oh, and also we did a matching overhead console in this one. So it's got the blue trim with the black inset and the gray canopy and gray panel, obviously. I might have gone a little overboard. I was pretty excited with all this stuff, so we kind of did some stuff with the throttle console here. We did a powder coated blue and black and just a little bit of touches of blue on stuff, so I think it's pretty cool. And kind of the same thing with the vents here, and yeah, so I think it came out pretty cool. A couple other things about the panel here are all of the switches over here in this area are red, and the rest of the switches are blue. So any of this stuff, if it's ever on during flight, it means there's an issue. So those are red, these are blue, and it kind of, you know, different areas are different functions. I really like the way the switches got broken up here. So this is your engine management stuff. The two fuel pumps are on the far right there, close to the fuel selector. I'll talk about the fuel selector in a minute as well. Then just your avionics stuff is all down here. Then all your lights are up here. So that's pretty good. And I know somebody's probably already thinking that with all these LED ring lights, how are you gonna fly at night? Well, I've got a dimmer for the switches as well as for the avionics on the panel. And so if I turn this dimmer knob here, dims these switches down really nicely and even shuts them all the way off. So if it's night and you want them just very, very faint, there it is. If you want them off, there it is. Or if you're crazy and you want them full bright in the middle of the night, you can go ahead and do that. So yeah, I think it's coming along really well. These switches here do not dim because, like I said, if there is an issue with any of this stuff on the left side, I guess you can call it the oh shit panel area here, you need to know about it. And so if you've chosen to have your lights dimmed all the way off, you still need to know about these. So those don't dim, the rest do. So yeah. Something else that I think is pretty cool is this builder was gracious enough when I had my fuel line problem with my personal plane. I don't know if some of you might remember, some of you might not know. I had 5/16 fuel line all throughout my plane instead of 3/8. My fuel selector was sized accordingly. And so I switched it all out. So all the new kits from Sling have the proper 3/8 diameter fuel hoses. Mine was a very early kit and it had the wrong ones. So yeah, so This fuel selector, what I was saying is this builder was nice enough to let me take his fuel selector because he was so far away from needing it and put it in my plane, so I owed him one. And instead of buying the same one that Sling uses, I bought this one. It's called a Newton Spurl, SPRL V10. It's made for Rotax engines, and all of the fuel inputs from the bottom go directly down. Well, a little bit diagonal with this mounting configuration, but you get the idea. So there's none of the elbow kind of sticking out and interfering with the sides of this, and the top works the same way. They just go straight back. So it really works out nicely, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. So it's a little bit different operationally. You just tilt it up. This is in the off position here. Tilt it, turn it for left tank, right tank, and then back to off. So a little bit different, but it's very logical, right? Left is to the left, right is to the right, and there you go. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the entirety of the update that I've got here. This plane is very, very close to making its way out to the hangar for final assembly, and I'm really excited about that. I know I said in my last video that I would try to make more regular videos, but right now I'm so busy with everything that I think probably won't be until final assembly that I film another video. So and then this plane is, I know it looks a little bit far behind, but it's running closely on the heels of this one. We're just waiting on the upholstery. We ordered that a little bit late into the process as well. So lead times are crazy right now with COVID stuff. So, you know, it is what it is, I guess. This is the fuel manifold. I've talked about it. This is the completed installation of it, and I think it's a really nice way to go. It basically puts the fuel filter at the same stock location as Sling uses, and yeah, it's got the bypass there and the pressure sensor all on the same unit. This pressure sensor is a Garmin unit. It's a little bit different than the stock Sling one. It does not have a differential pressure sensor, requirement. So the stock Sling one goes to the intake manifold here, and it does a calculation with the differential pressure between manifold pressure and fuel pressure. But the FADEC already has a sensor for manifold pressure. So this Garmin unit, as long as you tell the G3X which sensor you're using, does the calculations for you, and once again neatens up the fuel system just that much more. So, after the intercooler's on, you pretty much only see your inlet and your return fuel lines. So I think it turned out really clean. I'm really happy with it. So all of the fuel lines on this plane are Teflon. There are no rubber or aluminum lines. I think that this is the easier way to go. We did aluminum on the other one. It's a little bit more affordable, but it's a lot trickier to install in the fuselage. I always recommend Teflon on the front. I'm not entirely actually sure why I do that. It just seems like aluminum could be a bit of a problem down the road. And the last thing I wanted to show is my vent shut off here. So I've shown this one off the plane when I was kind of designing it and working it through. I've tested it with, blowing a shop vac directly into it, and it didn't have any leak at all. So that was pretty exciting and, promising for this. But as you can see, the top output of the shutoff there goes down the side and out that vent there. And the bottom one goes right here to the panel. So even if that were to leak very slightly, it definitely does not leak on the outside perimeter of it. Even if it were to leak very slightly through that there, these are once again the eyeball shutoffs, and they shut off nice and tight themselves. So between the two of them, we shouldn't have any air leaks in this plane, at least not through here. So the way it works is with the vent dimmer, or the vent knobs here, and as you can see, completely closed, completely open, and they're programmed so that when they're completely closed, the opening is the opening in the plate is as far away from the two openings in the housing there, so it's as shut off as it can possibly be. And when it's completely open, it's, you know, nice and straight and aligned there. So maximum open, maximum closed, and that's why I've got that Sharpie there when I was programming it. So yeah, that's pretty much the update from here right now. Really happy with it. Can't wait to get this thing out of here and up in the air. So have a good weekend, everybody, and keep you posted on things to come.